Hey Chiefs Kingdom, Harrison Graham back with another episode here on the Chiefs Report. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I'm at HGrahamNFL, closing in on 2,000 followers. More Chiefs and NFL news and rumors over there. Okay, let's go ahead and jump on into our mailbag. Appreciate everybody who used hashtag Chiefs, including Luke Zach 11. Do you think there is a chance we sign Alex Smith as a backup for Patrick Mahomes? Well, number one, I would love to see this, but let's at least acknowledge that Smith is under contract with the Washington football team. Now, that being said, I would love to see this happen. Chad Henne's under contract, but you can release him and save most of the money on his 1 year remaining. I think he's set to be owed like $2 million. You can cut him for like $1.5 million, so that's not a big deal. And then you could go sign Alex Smith if he gets released by the Washington football team, because let's be clear, you're not going to trade for Alex Smith and his contract. Now, his story the past 12, 24, 30 months now has been incredible, but he doesn't have much left in the tank. That being said, he knows Andy Reid's system. He and Patrick Mahomes have a pretty good relationship, and I think all in all, this would be a very cool thing to happen where Smith plays 1 to 2 years, backs up Patrick Mahomes as a good locker room voice, and then retires and reigns in his millions on into the sunset. Here's the current contract situation for Smith: $24 million this year. Washington can cut him to say $14 million, which I think is likely. If for some reason he's under contract 1 more year, then obviously they can save even more money. But I would be very surprised if Washington kept him under contract. Now, maybe they bring him into training camp and he competes with Taylor Heineke. Maybe they draft someone and they see how camp goes. Then they cut him to save the money. That's a possibility, but I think he'll get cut before then so they can clear the cap space now and have more money for free agency. And then maybe he becomes available for a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. It would be a great story. I would love to see it. Is it likely? Probably not, but I do think it would be a whole lot of fun and a good thing for both parties. Would you sign Alex Smith as a backup quarterback? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. If you get hit with the ad break, go ahead and answer this question. Next up is Caden Wheeler, hashtag Chiefs. Do you think the Chiefs can get Matt Milano? We need a good off-the-ball linebacker. Well, Milano is going to be a free agent. Only played in 10 games for the Bills, had some injuries this year, but the last 2.5 seasons, he's been pretty productive overall. 45 tackles, 5 TFLs, 3.5 sacks, 3 pass breakups. I like this question because Matt Milano isn't like some household name, right? Like later draft pick, isn't like a big name you think about when you think of linebackers in the NFL. But these are the type of players that Kansas City should and probably will be able to go after in free agency because they're not going to have 20, 30, 40 million dollars in cap space. Right now, they're 15, 20, 25 million over the projected cap, depending on where that falls into place. Now, they can clear some cap, they can cut some players, they can trade a guy or two, but a guy like Matt Milano, you can get him in here, one 2-year deal for 45 million, I believe. I think that would make some sense, and it's probably an upgrade from a guy like Damian Wilson at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens with Milano specifically, but these type of players, these price range type of players are the type of guys that I think you guys should prepare yourself for when we get to free agency here in about 3 or 4 weeks. What is the biggest need on defense positionally? Is it cornerback, linebacker, defensive end, defensive tackle? I think there's an argument to be made for just about every position except for safety on the defensive side of the ball. I want to hear it from you guys. Biggest need on the Chiefs defense entering next season. All right, we got Chiefs St. Patrick's gear available for up to 25% off at chatsports.com/ChiefsScreen. St. Patty's Day about 3 weeks away. I love this black long sleeve shirt, by the way. We got t-shirts, long sleeves. We got some women's shirts as well. Lots of different stuff available. There's a custom shirt, I believe, for you guys where you can put your own name and number on the back. We even got socks available. chatsports.com/ChiefsScreen. This Chiefs St. Patty's gear is up to 25% off. I'll go ahead and put that link in the comments. I'll put it in the description. You guys can click and shop, and it's right there. It's easy for you guys. 25% off at checkout when you use chatsports.com/ChiefsScreen. All right, MDB 3000. Do you think Brevin Jordan would be a nice complimentary piece for Travis Kelce? Brevin Jordan, for those who don't know, Miami tight end, entering the NFL draft. One of the top tight ends after Kyle Pitts, who we actually got a Pitts question, so we'll talk about him as well. Brevin Jordan is a guy I'm intrigued with, and this idea in general is something I started talking about last season, not specifically with Jordan, but I do think the Chiefs need to look at that number 2 tight end spot and start thinking about that very seriously. I actually brought up the idea, how about trading for Evan Ingram before the trade deadline this past season? That didn't happen, but I think drafting a tight end to groom under Kelce makes a lot of sense. Kelce has a lot left in the tank, but you don't have a good number 2 tight end. Nick Keiser was pretty bad last year. Ricky Seals-Jones did not work out. Deion Yelder, he's fine. He's more of a tight end 3, though. I think Brevin Jordan could come in. He could give you 25, 30 catches as a rookie because I think he's got that much talent. And then he can groom under Travis Kelce, and we know that Andy Reid does like to run 2 tight end sets more frequently than you would think when you think of the Kansas City Chiefs offense. I like this idea. 3rd round, maybe? Draft the number 2 tight end? I don't think it's a bad idea whatsoever. I hope following me on Twitter isn't a bad idea. If you want more Chiefs updates, NFL news, give me a follow. We're closing in on 2,000 Twitter followers. I'm at HGramNFL. Help me out. I greatly appreciate it. We're growing on this channel. I'm growing on Twitter. Thanks to you guys. If you followed me already, you can type me in the comments. But if not, just follow me over there at HGramNFL. A couple more questions here. I mentioned Kyle Pitts here. Matt and Sachs has this question. What are the odds of trading up for Kyle Pitts? 2%? I mean, not very likely. I mean, he's at the low end, he's going top 15. At the high end, some mocks have him going top 5. So I just don't think the Chiefs can get from 31 up into the top 10. I just think that's a long shot. He's incredible. Could you imagine him in this Chiefs offense? You're going to score 35 points per game because you already have the best wide receiver tight end combo in the NFL in Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill, and then Kyle Pitts just becomes a big slot that works the seam as well. He would be incredible in this offense. Problem is he's too good. You're not going to be able to draft Kyle Pitts unless you trade your first this year, your first next year, and probably a second or two as well, because moving up from 31 into the top 10, that's just what it costs in today's NFL. I would love to see something like this happen, but you may have to settle for someone more like Brevin Jordan. Now, who's your favorite prospect this year? Kyle Pitts might be my favorite one. I love his game. I think he's a beast. I think he's instantly an impact player in the NFL wherever he ends up landing, but maybe you have another player in mind. Let me know, favorite draft prospect this year. And get subscribed to the channel. We're closing in on 15,000 subs, 2K on Twitter, 15K on the channel. Do it for Mahomes, number 15, less than 700 subs away. Appreciate you guys for subscribing if you have already. And if you haven't and you like what we see, videos almost every single day, latest Chiefs news, rumors, we do mailbags like this, free agency and draft coverage. Go ahead and hit that big red button and share that link with a friend. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. All right, Patrick Mayer gets the final word here. Will the Chiefs have a down year in 2021 with the cap issues and the amount of guys lost to free agency? Well, number one, we'll see what happens in free agency. You might lose a guy like Sammy Watkins, but that's okay. He basically was ineffective last year and missed a lot of the season anyway. You get this offensive line figured out, I don't really expect a drop-off. Now, that doesn't mean the Chiefs are going to go to another Super Bowl, but what I'm saying is this will be a top 3 team in the NFL probably. They're going to win 12-plus games. Maybe they don't go 14-2 or I guess 15-2 because it's going to be a 17-game season. This will be one of the top 2 teams in the AFC and probably the favorite to come out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I'm not really projecting a down year for Kansas City. I think this will be one of the forces in the NFL once again, and I don't really think that's going to change as long as you have Patrick Mahomes and some of these weapons offensively and complementary defense, which Kansas City should have once again in 2021. Predict the record for me for next season. Remember, 17-game schedule, so base it off of that. I'll go 13-4. 13-4, 14-2 last year. Maybe you lose an extra game or two this year because, once again, the Chiefs are going to be the hunted in the NFL. I'll say 13-4. We'll obviously break down the schedule in full when that comes out. But get your predictions in, and we'll see you next time.